as they prepared for Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol, he's sequestered, he's getting ready for the service, and they say to him, go ahead and read through the service so you know exactly what steps you're going to have to take. And if he couldn't read it, then they go ahead and they read it before him. The Gemara questions, what do you mean he couldn't read it? We have a concept that Kohen Gadol is supposed to be Gadol Neachav, is supposed to be greater than all his brothers, is supposed to be greater in wealth and greater in wisdom. So how can the one who's supposed to be the greatest of all the Kohanim in wisdom possibly not be able to read? Well, later on the same daf, on Yoma Daf, what are we at? 18. We later on the same daf, it points out that as they read all these various instructions, they're saying, don't change a thing. Please promise you won't change a thing. And then he turns aside and cries, and they turn aside and cry. So what is going on here? That there's this whole system of the Kohen Gadol is supposed to be the greatest of all the Kohanim, the greatest of all the priests. But you see that the system got really corrupted. And to the point where people would buy their way into being Kohen Gadol, that it was not really the person who was the greatest among them. So much so that they'd suspect the person was maybe even had ulterior motives, that they might try to mess things up. That's why one of them turns aside, the Kohen turns aside to cry because he's afraid, he feels so bad that people suspect him of being somebody who has ill motives. And they who give the warning turn aside and cry because they feel so bad they have to, accuse the Kohen Gadol of this. But it was common enough that they had to be worried that maybe the guy couldn't even read for himself. That's how bad the corruption had got. So we had to have the warnings, and we had to have people sometimes read to him because of how far the whole institution had sunk.